Hi, this video is brought to you by TGIF. It is Friday. This lesson is on graphing inequalities in two variables, and don't let the two variables throw you. This just means you have an x and a y. So you're going to be graphing them on a plane instead of a number line. So let's review the basics. If you have a greater than or less than symbol, greater than goes this way. It's implying that the value of x is greater than something you have here. We also have less than. It points to the left. It says that the x is less than some value. On a graph, when you are doing your lines, you would shade to the side that x is representing. What else I need you to see here is these lines, when we're graphing, are dashed lines. They are not connected. Make sure you watch that. The points on this line are not included. So if x is greater than some number, it means x is larger than that value. So we would be shading right there. On the other hand, if it was less than, you would shade underneath. Something that might help you keep up with which way is above or below, greater than, less than, is to think about taking your line right here, and if you could flatten it out to an imaginary horizontal line, then you can tell what is greater than up here or less than down here, okay? Now, let's clear that off so we have a little more room. We're going to move on to greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. These look like this, less than or equal to. We have that bar. Greater than or equal to. Again, we have that bar. That means that when we are graphing our function, the line is solid. Any point on that line is included. And then, for instance, if I had it's less than something, if you just think about taking this line, change it, kind of flatten it out a little bit, and I want to do less than, that would be down here, so we would shade over here. So let's move to a graph and look at some practice equations. Okay, what you see here is a graph. I've graphed the equation y is greater than 2x minus 1. To graph this, notice that our y-intercept is negative 1. So I go to y is negative 1 right here on my graph and put a point. My slope is 2, so that means I go up 2 units over 1 unit. And this is going to give me a point, up 2 units over 1 unit, and I have a point. Let me change ink color so this shows up a little bit better for you on here. Now, I'm saying y is greater than or equal to. So what I have used here is a solid line. No dashed line because it includes that value. So this is a solid line. Y is greater than implies we shade above. Sometimes it can be tricky to determine what is above the graph or greater than this line. So think about rotating this one, if you will, maybe this way, till it flattens out a little bit and you can tell. Above would be this direction. So when I rotate it back where it was, now I'm going to go back this way, I'm still shading in this area. So any point on this line, so I could pick this point right here, would be included. All right, let's look at a little different one. I have the equation y is less than negative 3x plus 2. So to graph that, what I want to do is find my y-intercept of positive 2. I'm going to go up 2 units, which is right here. My slope is negative 3, so that means I'm going to go down 3 units over 1. Down 3 units over 1. Now my line, this is a dashed line. It is not solid. So you can tell on here, but if it helps, let's go over it. Again, if you're doing math in pencil and you accidentally make it a solid line, it's easy to erase. If you're using pen, you could be in trouble. Your calculator will graph and shade. It will not differentiate between the two types of lines. So if I ask you if any point on this line is in the answer set, the answer would be no. These values are not included. They are not. They are excluded. Actually, that went right off the screen, didn't it? So to shade, I'm telling you that y, my solution set, is less than this line. Again, if you're having trouble thinking less than, we're going to take in this line and imagine in our minds we could flatten it out. So which direction is less? Less is down here. So now to straighten that line back up to where it is, we're still going to be shading this portion. All right, let's do one final example because sometimes horizontal and vertical lines confuse people. My final example is y is greater than -2. All right, to graph this, whenever I don't have any x values, it means for every y is -2 no matter what the x value. So if you're drawing a t-chart, all these are going to be -2, and I could put any number in here I wanted, and it would always work. Now, it is greater than, which means no bar underneath. Notice this is a dashed line, so that line is not included in my answer set, and it says y is greater than this value. So greater than this line is this section up here. So any point in this pink section is in your solution. So instead of having a point as a solution, you now have a set. I hope this answers any of your questions, and we will work on this more in class. Have a great weekend and stay out of trouble.